Howdy, welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to talk about faith in the military. Um, what is faith? Faith is defined as uh, putting your beliefs to the test. Um, what beliefs could you have? You could be a family man. You could be you. If you're a father, you believe in family life. If you're a husband, you believe in your wife. If you're a volunteer, you believe in your community. If you're an employee, you believe in your company. If you're a citizen, you believe in your government. Now, all those different beliefs that you have require certain levels of faith in order to keep things going, as they say. Um, if you have zero faith in any of those beliefs, the result of that is despair, disunity, desolation, all the negative stuff, right? When you have 25% faith in something, you're willing to commit, but if it's not good enough, you'll just walk away. If you have 50%, again, you're willing to put in that little bit extra effort. Will you put up a fight? Probably not. If you're 75 to 75% committed, you're willing to fight and argue for something. And if you're 99 to 100% faithful in something, well, you better believe in the afterlife because you're going to be hanging on a cross there. Um, what more could I say about faith? Um, when we're young, um, we used to get great joy out of small things. We believed in Christmas because we got toys, we got Santa Claus. Um, we believed in the communion because we got our communion money, things like that. But as we grew older, we find joy in bigger and bigger and bigger things. And in order to get that feeling of reward out of those things requires a lot of time and an awful lot of effort. And it requires a significant amount of faith in your beliefs. And if you are not, if you're finding yourself burnt out or arguing with people or not getting your way or being irritable, it's normally because you're not getting joy out of the things that you're trying to get. And those things are usually big things, be it your mortgage or work or community efforts, things like that, big things. So when it comes to getting joy out of those big things, you have to be able to you have to rearrange your beliefs. You have to take a bigger perspective on things. And in order for you to get the joys out of the things that you are faithful to, you really want to have clarity of the situation. That involves not only your own viewpoint on something, but taking into account everybody else's viewpoint. You have to have a clarity of understanding, not only just of yourself, but the people around you. And finally, you need a clarity of a mission. You need to understand what you're doing. You need to have a logic there that X plus Y equals Z, 1 plus 1 equals 2. You have to have something as simple and as clear a mission as that. And the more clear that mission is, the more likely it will come around and you, you'll get the joy out of it. Um, what examples do we see today of faith being put to the test? If you look in the Ukraine war, there is a small town called Vuhledar, which is in the southeast corner of the combat zone at the moment. Why it's so important about Vuhledar? It was before the war. It was insignificant. It's a town, I don't know, the size of Ballyhonus. Like nobody knew about Vuhledar. So what became so important about it? Well, at the beginning, when the Russians initially invaded the Ukraine, the Ukrainians were able to push them back out, And as fate would have it, the Russians were pushed so far back beyond into Donetsk, which is the area in the eastern side of Ukraine. But between Donetsk and Zaporizhia, there's a land corridor there. And Vuhledar happens to be less than, I don't know, it's something like 50 miles away from the Sea of Azov, which means that every time the Russians need to move materials or logistics or supplies or men from the east to the south, Vuhledar has become a major strategic point for the Ukrainians to place their artillery and harass any movements up and down that particular area. And when you think about the likes of Severodonetsk, a city in the east of Ukraine, it took weeks of hard fighting for the Russians to take it. For the likes of Bakhmut and Mariupol, it took months of heavy fighting before the Russians can finally take it. But in the small town of Vuhledar, it is taking years for the Russians to take that particular piece of that point on the map. And currently, in the last couple of weeks or so, the Russians have managed to push within a couple of acres of the western side of Vuhledar, and they've taken a couple of acres off the eastern side of Vuhledar, and they are now finally starting to push into the town. And it really is a small town, and it's taken hundreds of thousands of Russians to fight, waves of them to try and take that town. And it's taken hundreds of pieces of artillery and tanks and BMPs to failed to get there. And it's taken unlimited amounts of missiles, drones, and artillery strikes. They've thrown everything at Vuhledar, and for 3 years they were able to hold up. And to think of the Ukrainian defenders, never mind the Ukrainians, the Russians, every day they have to question their beliefs of taking either defending that town or taking that town. Every day the Ukrainian defenders question themselves, and they have to motivate themselves to 100% faith to repel the Russian invaders. And every day for them it's a victory. And every day, for the Russians, if they are to take Vuhledar in the next couple of weeks, what are their beliefs like? Will they get joy out of taking Vuhledar finally? A small, insignificant town in a small part of the Ukraine. It really brings to question, what are the Russians doing there in the first place? But there you go. That's what faith is all about. And for a soldier, it doesn't matter whether you're a private in the trenches up to senior command. Every day, your faith is being tested. And every day, they have to literally list out their beliefs and come to some sort of clarity of understanding, of viewpoint, and of mission. That's all I have to say. Take care.